Hey everybody, Madora here, and we are getting funky today with one of my favorite James Brown grooves, Cold Sweat. I believe the bass player on this was Bernard Odum, as in Odum bass lines are really great. And today we're going to work on learning how to play it and then also using it as kind of a cool format for creating our own funk bass lines. So if you want to get tab or notation for this, head over to my Patreon page, support what we do here at this channel, hit subscribe here, all the things. But in the meantime, we're going to talk a lot about composing a funk bass line, what makes this particular Cold Sweat groove really cool, and how to kind of integrate that when you come up with your own fun creative parts. So to begin, we're going to talk a little bit about our harmonic prompt and our rhythmic prompt. And I like to think about things that way where, you know, whenever we're playing something musically, there's going to be some kind of like rhythmic feel or vibe that we're trying to like fit into. And then there's also going to be a harmonic one, meaning like, okay, what chord changes are we dealing with? Is there a particular form, or do we have a chord progression, anything like that? And with a lot of funk music, we're kind of dealing with static harmony where we're really not moving anywhere right now. So we're going to compose this part over basically a D chord. I like to call it D funky. You know, we've got a little like flat 7 sounds good over there, but the core of it is basically a D major triad. So to kind of orient ourselves in what we're playing, we're going to find the D right here over the 5th fret of our A string. And I'm going to orient myself first by just playing like a D major scale. Maybe I'll throw the flat 7 in there, kind of give it a D Mixolydian vibe, because that'll give it some funk. And I'm also going to think about the components that make up this D chord. So while the D scale is great, just knowing like the root 5th octave or just the triad is really important, because that's actually kind of like what we use to compose this part. So our harmonic prompt here is going to be playing over this D chord and getting oriented by playing a scale, playing the root 5th octave, and just playing the triad is a really good thing to do right off the bat. The other thing is our rhythmic prompt. Now, this groove is going to basically be a 2-bar phrase. So the groove is going to kind of unfold over the course of 2 bars. And one thing about a lot of funk grooves is there's kind of like an initial beat 1, and then whatever note comes next, and then whatever else happens in the rest of the bar. So beat 1 is kind of our like thing. Like if you've heard about like Bootsy Collins talk about playing with James Brown and creating funk grooves, it's all about the 1. And the thing that makes this particular line really interesting is that, yeah, we have a solid downbeat, and then we have the and right after it. So we're really playing 1 and. Ba boo ba ba goo ga ba ba doo da ga ba boo ga ba doo ga ba boo ba doo ba ba ba. Now, I might be just singing a bunch of like beeps and bops, but really that's like a great way to kind of get control over what's happening rhythmically with a funk groove, where you kind of create that first framework of the downbeat and the next note, and then you hear the rest of the groove happen. So if you've had issues with timing and keeping track of like what you're playing note-wise within funk grooves, a really great thing to do is to sing the downbeat and maybe the next note and then fill the rest in, so that even if your hands aren't up to doing it yet, at least you know how to hear and feel the rhythm if you can like speak what that is. So that's a really good thing to do in terms of setting up your rhythmic framework. The other cool thing is that this groove involves a lot of syncopation. We're dealing with upbeats, and one of the things that makes it really cool is we have a 1 and then the next few notes are played on the ands of the end of 2, end of 3, end of 4. So even just this beginning part, all I'm doing is I'm playing my 1 and on the root, and then I'm playing the octave, the 5th, and the octave again on the ands. So ba goo ba 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 doo ba 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 doo da ba 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 doo ba ba. So in that case, I'm kind of playing that first bar of the groove, and then I'm singing the second bar. So again, I'm kind of like building this in pieces and feeling the syncopation there. You know, typically a little bit more like straight ahead bass lines will kind of stick to the downbeats, or the 1, 2, 3, 4. The cool thing with a lot of funk parts is that, you know, we're playing with the E's, the ands, and the uhs, or the other parts of a 16th note to kind of give it that syncopation. So the end of 2, end of 3, and end of 4 are really what work in our favor here. So now that we've kind of gotten that, we see, oh yeah, this is kind of playing into that same like harmonic prompt that we were doing before, where I'm just playing roots, fifths, and octaves there. The second part of the line is going to be really cool because, again, we're kind of starting off with this little octave jump where we're playing the octave, coming down to the root, and we're going to play kind of like what I usually will refer to as like an open string dead note kind of thing, where I'm kind of playing the open A string, but you don't really hear the pitch because it's happening really fast as if it's a dead note. And then I'm playing the D. So you can kind of hear how that kind of works there, where I'm playing the higher D, and then I'm playing my open A string that's serving as a dead note, and then pressing down on the fretted D. And then after that, we're going to kind of do our nice little like octave again, and then walk from the third to the fifth. So before, when we kind of outlined that triad and we played root, third, fifth, what we were doing is actually kind of like outlining the framework for this last part of the groove, where we're basically playing chromatically from the third to the fifth, or from this F sharp up to the A. Hear how I'm kind of just walking my way up there chromatically, going from the third to the fifth, just filling in the notes that exist between the third and the fifth of our triad. And there it is, you know. So there's a lot of like really cool stuff about this bass line that really kind of taps into basic musical things, like a specific rhythmic prompt, playing the syncopation, and then also knowing that, yeah, we're outlining a D chord by playing roots, fifths, octaves, and then also doing that chromatic move from the major third up to the fifth. Now, if you want to get a little bit creative with this groove and maybe use it as inspiration for something else, what I would really recommend doing is finding some of these moves in other places. For instance, this little walk up, you could also find an octave lower. So let's say you're going to create your own kind of like cool funk groove that's inspired by Cold Sweat. I might do something like that, where I'm playing my roots, and then I can find my little 6 and flat 7 move, which, while that isn't in this bass line, it's a really common funk thing that we have. But then I do kind of finish out with a little chromatic walk from that F sharp to the A, just like lower here. So here's cool. I'm just calling it cool. Here's cool. Here's this cool part. I love it. You know, there are a lot of cool ways to get funky with it. And again, kind of play off of the framework of what this is. So what I would recommend is get this groove under your fingers, play around with some of the concepts of it, you know, little quick root fifth movement, throwing the octave in, that chromatic walk, and think about all the ways you can kind of use this notion of static harmony to your advantage. You know, we're not moving anywhere, so it's all about learning how to explore the space of the chord you're on, the key you're in, all of that good stuff. So I hope you dug this. If you want to get tab, notation, support this channel, head over to my Patreon page. And in the meantime, happy practicing, keep it groovy.